Welcome, everyone, to From the Ground Up. We are a podcast that appears every so often in the Grit Daily Network on the website CEO Official Mag, and we also end up on YouTube and Spotify and other locations. We talk to entrepreneurs about how they're running their business and who they're helping, and the goal is to offer advice for entrepreneurs on how they can run their business better. But today we're going in a little bit different of a direction. We're talking to Kyle McMahan, who is Chief Marketing Officer at WoodmenLife. It's a financial services company, also a life insurance company, and they help entrepreneurs as well. And so today's conversation will be a little bit about how entrepreneurs can make the best out of financial planning and how they can use it to secure their legacy and things of that sort. And so today we're talking to Kyle McMahan, as I said, the Chief Marketing Officer there. Hi, Kyle. How you doing?
Hey, glad to be here today. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Let's tell everyone about yourself and what WoodmenLife is all about.
Yeah, so I've been with WoodmenLife now for 36 years. Started my career out in the field helping young startup entrepreneurs and young families get things ahead in their business by providing security with risk management products and also investing in their retirement. And I'm married. We have 6 children. My wife, Amy, and I have 17 grandchildren. So we're
Wow.
super excited about spending a little time with them. My career with Woodman Life's been fantastic. You know, I started out there in the field, worked my way through a variety of different roles, and landed here in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm now the Chief Marketing Officer for Woodman Life, a fraternal organization.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about what the fraternal aspect has to do with, and it's related back to entrepreneurs and how they can secure their own legacy in ways that they might not realize that they could. And but yeah, so I suppose tell us a little bit about Woodman Life and what sort of makes it stand out from other life insurance companies in the financial planning world.
Yeah, you know, the good news about life insurance companies is, for the most part, all companies are really good. There are really three types of life insurance companies that exist in the marketplace. There's mutual companies, there's stock companies, and then there's fraternal benefit societies, of which Woodman Life is. And really, the key differentiator is that Woodman Life, rather than give back our profits to stockholders or policyholders, we find ways that we can help the community become a better place to live. We roll our sleeves up, we volunteer, we do good works in the community, all the while providing top-notch financial services products to help the consumer.
Very good. Yeah. Well, our conversation for today, we're kind of talking about the financial legacy blueprint for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are our primary people that watch the show, and we're always looking for ways to help them figure out their life better. And so, when we talk about the financial legacy blueprint for entrepreneurs, what does that type of phrase mean to you, and what inspired it?
Yeah, you know, I think when entrepreneurs are first getting started, anyways, they're looking to find what their true value proposition is, right? They're either looking to grow wealth, they're looking to have some kind of great impact in their community to help it become a better place, or maybe even it's some specific personal value that they're trying to live out within their business. So I think really at the onset of entrepreneurial lifestyle is creating that vision of what you want to create within your company. And then beyond that, it's about creating a cash flow and understanding the profitability, trying to make sure that you're doing good, whatever that might be, what your vision is. But at the same time, have some clear strategy on how you're going to manage that profit and loss in that business through a cash flow and revenue perspective. And then you got to figure out, right? You got to figure out how are you going to manage that, save for the future, protect the company and those that you love. And it's a lot, right? So I think there's a real clear strategy that people can follow to put the key components together. And then once they do that, it's just about having a good review plan in place so that as things change, you can also change with it.
Oh, that's great. Well, many founders, they focus so much on keeping the business live that they don't even think about financial protection. So
Yeah.
what's a good sort of first step that they should take in building that long-term financial foundation?
You know, I think it comes down to that that cash flow position. So when an entrepreneur starts that business, as cash flow begins to increase, the first thing they start thinking about is how they can expand their business. How can they utilize those resources to improve it? And that's really a smart strategy. But the thing that can get forgotten is protecting the risk side of it. There's all kind of risks that entrepreneurs face. You hear oftentimes the biggest cause for young startup businesses to fail is there's a disruptor that happens out in the marketplace that they didn't see. It's a blind spot. So I think an entrepreneur needs to have a steady approach to saving. And that saving starts with building a reserve that they can fall back on in those tough times. And that's critical at the startup, the start of the entrepreneur lifestyle. And then after that, you start figuring out those additional resources that you can apply to the risk side. And risk comes in a lot of flavors because obviously in small businesses, you have commercial risks. Then you have personal risk. And personal risks are things like life and disability and health. And those are expensive propositions that an entrepreneur has to take in consideration in the long haul, not to mention the retirement piece and how you're going to save for that retirement in the future so that money is there for you to eventually fulfill a retirement dream.
Well, how should an entrepreneur, with the balancing of business reinvestment versus financial planning? You're starting to talk about that already now. And, what are sometimes cash is really tight and it's hard to figure out how to do that. How should an entrepreneur think about balancing again that reinvestment for the business versus their own personal financial planning? What's some advice that you give around that?
So, yeah, I think a critical step is to take your eye off the short run, the short gain, and put your eye on the long. Because in the marketplace, there's volatility. But really, to have a good, solid, long-term savings plan, it's more about consistency and time. Time is your best friend, and not getting caught up in trying to buy the most high-risk, fastest-growing product that you can put your money in, but rather be reliable and have a balanced portfolio that can give you some credibility along the way that you don't have to really worry too much about. That you can provide some consistent resources to, and whether it's starting small at $50 a month initially and then grow with that, or whether you have the cash flow to up that ante up to something greater than that, it still relies on the same common truth: consistency and time. A well-balanced portfolio, given those two promises, will pay off great dividends in the long run.
Yep, you got to keep contributing it to over the long run. Okay, let's talk about life transitions. Entrepreneurs have known many who have gotten married along the way, and oftentimes that'll change an entrepreneur's priorities, marriage, and other
Absolutely.
life transitions. What are some of the biggest financial mistakes you see entrepreneurs make during those life transitions? What are some ways that entrepreneurs can handle them better?
Yeah, without stereotyping an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs obviously can come in a variety of ages, right? I could be an entrepreneur starting today at my old age, and my kids are already grown. I've got some grandchildren. My position's a little different. But if I'm a startup entrepreneur and I'm a young person, I'm getting married, the blind spot really is I'm building my business and I'm going to live forever and my health is going to remain forever. And I've got a lot of time in front of me. And then all of a sudden a sickness, a disability, or maybe even a premature death occurs. And you have a family, you have a wife, you have children, and then you got to be concerned with what you're going to leave behind. And so a good solid principle is to provide some risk management protection. And whether that be the least expensive form of insurance out there in the marketplace, like term life, to at least have as a platform to protect your family is super important. And then make sure there's other risks, those things that we don't know when they're going to occur. We know that generally speaking, people are going to get sick at some point. Generally speaking, someone's going to need to go to the doctor. Sometimes people become disabled, but we all know that at some point in time we're going to die. And so having protection to make sure that when that occurs and whenever that occurs, your family's taken care of is a key component of that entrepreneur that's starting a family. And it can be lost because you're in that hustle to drive the equity position of your company, right?
Yeah. Now that's a great point. And, I just, my financial planning firm, one of the members of the firm, she has some kind of illness as well that she's actually doing an early retirement. And so they're replacing her, but it was just sort of, and that I just found out about that earlier today. And so that kind of underscores what you're saying. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
and she's getting around 50 as well, like I am. So, it's just, got to watch out for the health and make sure you understand that you don't have an unlimited number of days that are coming up.
No, you don't. Unfortunately, the crystal ball doesn't tell us when, but the good news is that there's tools and resources that you can put in place that's not going to break the budget, but that will provide comfort. And over time, you can evaluate and make changes to that. And so that it can be the product that you need for your lifetime rather than just for a period of time.
Yeah, it's great advice, and one that entrepreneurs, even invincible entrepreneurs, have to think about early on. So, well, let's talk about something that is often more fun for entrepreneurs, and that's buying a home. That's a big milestone for many entrepreneurs. Now, where does that fit in as far as the idea of building a lasting legacy? How do you incorporate that type of thing
Yeah,
into
so I
advice?
think that home buying is a fantastic asset to hold in your investment portfolio. There's people out there that would contradict that and say that renting is better than owning, and
Mm,
but in the very easiest way to look at it is, in most cases, homes appreciate. And so it provides a safe, comfortable environment to raise your family in. It's a great investment. Most generally, you're going to have some equity that comes along with that over a period of time. And so you're not going to get hurt too bad in a financial position of owning a home. But the one thing that can get lost is at the time of the purchase, the thing that you're most excited about is getting that moving truck, unloading your stuff, bringing your family in, and celebrating this grand asset that you've created, right? But normally, there's a debt that rides alongside of that asset, and that's
mhm.
called the mortgage. And that's a cash flow killer if you don't have enough, right? But the fact is that protecting that simultaneously with your life insurance protection can give you peace of mind. And you think, well, how does that give you peace of mind? Well, as simple as this: that mortgage that you're carrying uh, doesn't go away when you die. So if that family member that's left behind, that partner who is going to now have to secure some way to make that mortgage payment, doesn't have the resources because now the entrepreneurial business is shut down. Now the income stream is shut down. The good news is life insurance will place that home in the hands of that person you love the most, and those children will have a place to live and live out their dreams because you've got protection. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be the most expensive type of life insurance that you can buy, although if you can afford it, that would be the way to go. But term life can also do that. So protecting your home against that liability is super important. And it runs right in line with that cash flow. You know, a person dies, the cash flow stops. You can also create a life insurance increase that will protect that cash flow deficiency too when a breadwinner is actually deceased.
It's great advice, super helpful. Entrepreneurs need to think about this stuff. Now, well, let's talk about sort of the fraternal aspect of the company. You oversee marketing, sales, and fraternal programs at Woodman Life. And, we're talking about community values, service. How does that play into the financial well-being and legacy planning aspects?
Yeah, I do think that entrepreneurs, generally speaking, have somewhat of a community initiative in their mindset. They want to do well, not only for their family. They want to be a good partner to the community, and they want to find ways to make it a better place to live. And so, in their legacy vision statement, if you will, likely there's going to be some kind of a personal conviction that they want to see happen. And one of the ways that they can do that is get involved in volunteer groups within their community. And that's exactly what Woodman Life is we're a financial services company that offers volunteer opportunities. And they can come out and do a number of things. And it could be something as simple as, doing a beautification project in your community. laying some mulch around a flagpole, presenting a flag to the school, the civic organization, or to the county seat. Or it could be something like feeding the homeless, rolling your sleeves up, getting some friends out, raising some funds to give to your community in need for those that are food insecure. And these are vehicles that Woodman Life provides our members to volunteer in. Entrepreneurs can take advantage of that. If their resources are allowing them to get involved, and their time will allow them, and their heart is also there, giving back in their community is a fantastic way, not only to build a good brand, but it's a fantastic way for them to grow their business.
Yeah, and entrepreneurs are always looking for ways to make their brand look better, and that's certainly a way to go. Now, let's talk about business owners who've started to see some real growth, which is not all entrepreneurs, but hopefully entrepreneurs that are working hard, they see some real growth. What kind of like key person insurance, succession planning? What are some protection strategies that they should be thinking about now that they're starting to get some growth?
Many times what happens is, you get started in your business, it's starting to flourish. You can't do it by yourself. So you got to reach out and you got to find some relationships. Maybe it's a partner, an equally shared partner that's going to help you grow this business. And you're running along and cash flow is pretty good. And the one thing that you got to think about is what happens if something happens to my partner. And so one of the ways that you can have a business continuation plan is have what's considered a key person insurance or a buy-sell agreement in place. In that partnership, it's a buy-sell agreement relationship, so that when one partner dies, the other partner is paid off, and that family that's left behind is also could be potentially restored, and that business can continue. If it's not a partnered relationship, it's just a key person that you've brought on your team that absolutely is making a difference, and losing that person would be catastrophic. You can create a relationship with that person and have a key employee or a key person protection in place to have some funds available to offset that loss when that occurs.
Yeah, business continuation planning is it seems like we're kind of starting to talk a little bit about that, and walk us through what happens if a founder doesn't have that kind of planning in place. So business continuation planning, what is it? Yeah, tell us more.
Yeah, so like in business, you have a variety of different ways that you can set it up. If it's a partnership relationship, then you got one or two or three partners that are involved. And usually what would happen is at a death of a partner, if there's nothing in place, then there becomes this, well, how much of that business and what assets of that business and what resources in that business belong to that partner's family. And so if you don't have a contractual agreement in place that at time of death of a partner or multiple partners, there's a contract that's going to help fulfill those obligations and take care of that need for business continuation. The lack of such agreement can be catastrophic. And many times it will be the end of that business because of the uncomfortable relationship of trying to fund a partner that doesn't have a plan in place.
Yeah, well, it's a tough subject to think about a lot of times, especially younger entrepreneurs, and there are a lot over in the in the Bay Area where I live. There's a lot of younger entrepreneurs, and they're not thinking about this type of thing at all because they're 28 or
right.
whatever it may be.
Don't live forever, inevitable, right?
Yeah, well, it's
Invincible,
a good conversation to have, So it's good to hear what is possible there and what's needed, But well, okay, so. IRAs, 401ks, those are the more typical type of retirement planning approaches that people think about. It sort of comes to mind right away. But beyond that, what should entrepreneurs be considering?
Yeah, I think in retirement planning, obviously you want to take advantage of those instruments like IRAs or Roth IRAs. And if you've got a corporate structure set up already and you've got a 401k capability, obviously participate as much as you can. Afford to and those contributions. But I think the real truth behind good retirement planning is establish the consistency of what you can contribute each month. Make sure that you have a well-balanced, diversified portfolio and think of it for the long. I mentioned that earlier, but it's super important. Too many people can get caught up in the market trends. And the market trends can be catastrophic if you're trying to play that bet, because you can't play that bet and be very good at it usually. But you can play the long game and let the market do what the market's going to do, and just be consistent with your contributions. And over time, if you have time, and time is that one variable that we don't know how much we're going to have, but if you do have time and you're consistent with your contribution, you're going to be a winner on the retirement side. So I would say that you want to take advantage of all the different types of plans, the IRA, the Roth IRA, the traditional IRA, whatever best fits your taxable situation. But most importantly, make sure that it's consistent during the volatile times, during the bull and the bear, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
make sure that you're being true to what you can contribute, where it's a favorable amount that's not going to put too much pinch on your cash flow.
yeah, you're starting to talk about that financial discipline, and so you're leadership in an organization that has $11 billion in assets that it's managing, and what are some of the discipline tips that you've learned out of
Yeah,
experiencing that?
yeah, that's fantastic. When you think about a company like ours, which is a life insurance company, we have obviously some regulatory um, uh, procedures we have to follow on what we can and can't do in terms of the risk side of investments, because the promise for a life insurance carrier is that we can return that payment whenever it's due to someone when they die, right? So we have to be cognizant of those regulations. But I think that the testament is true over time. We're very conservative, like most carriers are, because we have to be. So we have a really good portfolio of balance. And that balance is what allows us to make it through the test of time. We got to the $11 billion in assets because we were conservative, but we were consistent, and we had time on our hand. 136 years. You can't beat that amount of time, right?
Yeah, that's 1899. Is that, or no, 1880?
1890.
Oh,
1890.
1890.
Yeah.
Man, that's absolutely fantastic. You guys have been around that long. So yeah, balance, making sure to stay disciplined, is key there. Well, okay, so being around 136 years, you guys have one of the main cores of it seems to me is community involvement and community values and long term impact. How do you encourage people to think about legacy in a way that's not just about the money and goes towards those community values?
Yeah, there are entrepreneurs for sure that have that philanthropic mindset right out of the gate, right? And they have a passion, and whatever that passion might be, they can start small with it. Because as time goes along and their cash flow enhances, their community involvement enhances, the capability of doing more for that cause, whatever that might be for them, is what I would say will be a staple in their future value of their organization, whatever it might be that they're providing, service or product. Community legacy is very underrated. I think about folks that live in a community for a long time, but never really take the time to ask the question, what can I do to make my community better? And even if it's just an hour a month or
Mhm.
an hour or two a month, making a difference and helping people, seeing other lives improve. And as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of ways to do that. From your associates that you've brought on board, you're showing them a good way, a good track record, because you're paying them a paycheck to do what they're doing. But you also get them involved in that cause, that vision, that legacy vision that your organization is standing for, and they too also have the opportunity to give back. And when you do it as a group, you build camaraderie, you build experiences, you build great relationships, and through those great relationships, I think what will happen with entrepreneurs is they will see their business grow, because people want to do business with good business, and good business is taking care of the place in which we live and making it a better place.
Definitely something that entrepreneurs should think about. I've known a few entrepreneurs who've run businesses, and they'll usually have their smaller businesses, 10 employees or 15 employees, and they'll have something that they'll volunteer at a soup kitchen, once
Yeah, it's
once
fantastic.
that kind of thing, and like the office is empty for half of a day. Well,
Yeah.
half the team goes and does that, and then they'll switch off. That type of thing.
Fantastic, man. It really does make a difference. Not only are you giving back and you're helping someone out,
Yeah.
it feels good for the soul, right?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's, we're put on this earth to do a little bit more than just, business.
Yeah.
It's also about people too. Well, okay. So, technology, digital platforms. I always have to ask questions like this for anyone who comes along on the show here. What role do you see for technology, digital platforms playing in the future of financial planning and asset protection and all of it?
Yeah, man. I tell you, just in the last 12 months, this is just how fast the digital wave is occurring. Unlike any period of time in my 36 years with Woodman Life, technology has always been a component. The policy administration systems, from the old legacy now to some more modernized way in which we can keep track of customers' business. It's always been part of it. But with artificial intelligence on the scene now, everything's moving faster. And so there's a couple of things I think that's going to happen with artificial intelligence in the financial sector is as it continues to improve and organizations like ours can find ways to create efficiencies in our operational model, we think AI will play a big part in that. And what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things? The more efficient a company like ours can be, the more we can invest in future products and future ideas to help the consumer. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're trying to get rid of people. It just means we're trying to get and help people become more efficient. Now the roles may change, people's roles may change, but at the end of the day, with AI's fast approaching influence, it can benefit us in a lot of ways through operational efficiencies and even in strategy. It's really just crazy how fast it's moving.
Oh yeah, it's found its way into everything, and it's good if you can use it and use it efficiently for sure. All right, so if we, as we sort of get more towards the end of the conversation here, let's talk about giving entrepreneurs if you could give them one little piece of advice to ensure that they're protecting both their business and their family's future. What would that be?
I think start with that value proposition. Create that vision that you want to see accomplished. That doesn't mean you don't tweak it along the ways, but at least start with a foundational belief that what you're wanting to see your organization accomplish, and set some goals. Right, set some goals that are built around those values, and then once you have that established, then you also take it down a step and then set some financial goals. Create a vision plan for those, and that usually is most recommended to get somebody to help you out. Get a representative to sit down with you, complete some analysis to help get you on track. But then beyond setting your vision goal and setting some financial goals, I think it's really important to set your mind on not just the point in time, but out beyond like a 5 year and then a 10 year and then a 15-year set of standards. Because this is what you're chasing, right? You're chasing that long game. And as an entrepreneur, some people, they're wanting to do quick startups to get them sold because they're trying to get cash fast. That's why early on I talked about, is it wealth that is your value? Because if it is, you're likely not going to be concerned too much about your legacy and your vision and your all those things, right? But if it's a business you're trying to build for sustainable in your community, to be able to be sustained in your community, you're going to need some principles, and those are those values. I think the philanthropic behavior, that's not built into everybody. Not everybody's going to come naturally to say, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to make a lot of money so I can give them a bunch of money away. But if that is part of your makeup, make that part of your plan.
Yeah.
It could be simply you have a passion to mentor people. You want to see other people succeed. So if that's part of your strategy, then put that in your goal plan, and then be consistent. I think I've said it a couple of times, and it probably gets old, but the truth is that a consistent participation in a retirement plan, protecting your risk management stuff, that's that life insurance, that disability, that health care, because we don't know when it's going to happen. but make sure you have those plans in place. Get some resources out there to help you identify what those are and how you should protect them. And then get after it as fast and hard as you can, and be thankful every single day that you have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah. Health is wealth is one thing that I hear my dad saying in my head sometimes. Health is wealth. Without the health, you don't have any wealth. So,
There
but
you
yeah.
go. That's a good one.
Well, Kyle McMahan, you're with Woodman Life. You're a grandfather of 17 and
Yes.
6 kids. And how can if anyone's interested in learning more about not just their financial planning, their asset protection, but also how they can make a difference in terms of their community, how would they get a hold of you? How would they get a hold of the folks at Woodman Life?
Yeah, the best way is just go out there and look at our website, www.woodmenlife.org, O-R-G. You can find a plethora of information about our organization. You can find my contact information out there. You can certainly find me on those social media channels, but I certainly would appreciate anybody to take a look at Woodman Life. And if we can be a resource, we want to be one.
Great to have you on the show today. You've been a wonderful reminder to me on some of the things that I need to continue to work on, asset protection and things of that nature. So great to have you on the show today, Kyle.
Thank you so much for the time. I really enjoyed it.